So after the catastrophe that was RWBY Volume 7 and how Neo was treated when she was punched in the face by that damn farm boy, has Volume 8 served Neo any justice because she had her fight in Volume 8, Chapter 5, and... Oh, you gotta be kidding me, man. What the hell is this? You gotta be kidding me. This is exactly what they did to her. Oh, this show hates her so bad, as well as all the other characters. This is bullshit. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. So, RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 5. Yeah, it happened. Oh, and boy, oh boy, do we ever have a lot to talk about. Because, as always, the writers, they learn how to do one thing, keep things inconsistent, and continue to disrespect and ruin characters, because they're good at that. So, it starts with Amidity, where they're there, Pietro, Maria, and Penny, which they're setting up their whole device so that they can communicate to the internet, send the message out there that they have to let everybody know about Salem and about how her giant whale army is there to attack Atlas. But, of course, at that moment as they're setting it up, Cinder appears. Now, one thing I still have yet to question about this is when Cinder's like, oh yeah, I had a feeling you'd be here. How did she know that Penny would be there? That's like my first thought was like, how did you know that? Because that was a complete shot in the dark. You want to talk about convenient for the writers. This could not have been more convenient. And, of course, when it comes to this fight, is Cinder going to make people proud? Is she actually going to defeat Penny and take the maiden powers? Or is she going to disappoint? Well, it's pretty obvious she disappoints. Because the writers really hate the villains. You want to talk about hatred for any of the characters? Because we all know they don't care for any of them. But the villains get the worst of it. And they always will continue to lose. Because the writers don't want to create suspense at all. And Penny asks Cinder why she works for Salem, and Cinder says that she works on her own, that she's not confined to Salem. Oh yeah, because, it's not like last chapter where she bent the knee to Salem, also telling her that, oh, without you I am nothing. Oh yeah, it's not like that doesn't mean anything. And as you can clearly tell, Cinder's statement has already aged terribly. But Cinder also states that Penny is basically doing nothing more than being a puppet, that she's working for the other side because that's what she's programmed to do. And then Penny, which I gotta say this right now, Penny makes a very terrible statement about how she fights for those that care for her. That she cares for, that cares for her. Yeah, good luck with that, because the only person there would be like, what, your dad? Because Ruby's just gonna use you as a pawn in her game because she's a sociopath, and she doesn't really care. Likes to gaslight Penny all the time. And then you have where the people of Mantle do not care for her at all because they believe that she killed some people at that election party. So, to say that you're fighting for people that you care for, that care for you, yeah, good luck with that one, Penny, because the majority of those that are not your father, yeah, they don't care. Now, of course, when it comes to the fight between Cinder and Penny, where you have two maidens fighting, well, it's just terrible. All it really is the characters are flying around, they're doing absolutely nothing. I mean, this was just nothing more than a chase, and it was very boring. Just like the last chapter with the race, like the pod race scene, I guess you could call it. Yeah, that was boring. It was just nothing but a chase scene, and Cinder's attacks really just don't add up to doing much. It's pretty bad. But let's get to the worst of it, because, oh my dear God, was this trash. You want to talk about really pissing me off. Oh, it was already one thing when Neo got punched in the face by the damn farm boy last volume. Oh, they made it significantly worse. Significantly. First off, you have this terrible struggle between Neo flying the aircraft and the mech. This was just horrible to begin with. Okay? Then you have Neo get out, and she transforms into Ruby. For one, why does she even know that Maria and Ruby even have any form of a relationship? Like, how could she possibly know that when she's never seen that? Maria's never even been present around Ruby when Neo has been there. It doesn't make any sense, and it's absolutely ridiculous. But it gets worse, because then you have Maria, who is basically just able to just joke around as if this fight's nothing to her. This fight makes absolutely no sense. Like, you want to talk about a complete and total bullshit fight? This is it. This is so frustrating because it makes no sense. Maria is a character that has not fought in 20,000 years. This old fossil has never been established with any strength as an old woman. In fact, she stated back in Volume 6 that she was not what she used to be, and that she stopped being a huntress after she lost her eyes. She stopped. I mean, seriously. So you mean to tell me that a character that does not train, that is just an old fossil that doesn't do anything but be a useless plot device, you mean to tell me that she's able to do this? I don't believe that for 5 seconds. This fight is complete and utter bullshit. You want to talk about trash? Oh, it is horrible. This is outright insulting. This is garbage. This is why Maria as a character should just die off, because her character does nothing for the plot. She is not of any use. She is a useless plot device, and I have not been able to stand her since she was introduced at all whatsoever. And as Neo did beat her, in the end, what happens? All right, Neo gets blasted because she's treated as nothing more than a joke now. It is insufferable. You want to talk about frustrating? This is absolutely disgusting how this entire fight was handled. Nothing more than an insult. I wouldn't even call it a fight. I would just call this disgraceful. That's really what this was. And Penny, I'm going to tell you right now, this made me want Penny to just go back to Volume 3 and stay there and just not come back, even more than I did whenever she came back in Volume 7. Neo as a character has been established in terms of strength. We know that she's fast. We know that she's agile. We know that she has an acrobatic style. That's how she fights. We know that she also uses her own opponent's power against them. That's how she fights. We have seen this. I mean, to have her be constantly nerfed, to be constantly disrespected, is a disgrace. It is disrespect to the character, in which, like I said, that's nothing new, that they would disrespect characters. And Neo is one that they have definitely proven they really hate because of the way that she has been treated since she's come back. I mean, it is disgusting. Not only that, but she didn't even use her semblance one time. Her semblance back from Volume 2, where she could warp, for example, or, later on, which we did also see within Volume 6, where she had gotten stronger, where she was actually able to fight with just her illusions. I mean, that was what that fight was mostly Neo used her own illusions. Even then, she was good at dodging with those. I mean, for her to not even have her illusions be used within this fight goes to show how badly the writers do not care about her character, nor do they care to understand her power or capabilities, which is just a disgrace. Like I said, it is disgusting. It's kind of funny because Cinder back then stated that both her and Neo had gotten stronger. Yeah, seems like they want us to pretend that never happened. I mean, they want us to just act like, oh, well, that was non-existent. Oh, no, that happened. That was a statement. I mean, seriously, this was nothing more than a complete and total insult. And here's the thing. I praised the Cinder and Neo fight because it was actually done well. In fact, in my opinion, even to this very day, I still believe that that is one of the best post-Volume 3 fights. But they just love to treat all the villains with so much disrespect. It's just sickening. You want to talk about making me so furious. It's just awful. And then Neo now at this point is nothing more than a joke. They continue to make her job her fights, which if you notice, they also did that to Crow as well. And it was very frustrating. Ever since Volume 5 and onward, Crow was jobbing his fights. And then here we are with Neo. Now she's jobbing her fights. They love to nerf her character because they've nerfed her so hard to the ground, like they've nerfed every other character in the show. And they continue to just disgrace the character. It is disgusting. I cannot stand this. And the writers could not have been more disrespectful or insulting to a character than this. This is absolutely vile and awful how they treated Neo's character, and it shows that they don't like her at all. It's disgusting. And Maria, I'm sure that people are going to bring up how, oh, well, what about her semblance? Or what about her being a veteran huntress? That doesn't matter, because after she lost her eyes, she stated that she lost the motivation to be a huntress, as well as stating that she wasn't what she used to be. And catching a lemon doesn't demonstrate power. I mean, yeah, that might be impressive for an old person to be able to catch a lemon that falls from a tree like that, like the way she did it without having to see it. But still, point being, that doesn't demonstrate power. And thing is that Maria's been a useless plot device, a character that didn't even matter if she existed or not. Because let me explain something. Crow himself, he was a character that knew Summer, Ruby's mom. The whole point that they brought Maria in was to teach Ruby about her silver eyes, when Crow or even Ozpin could have done that. Because Crow himself, well, he was the one who was on the same team as Summer and had a very strong emotional attachment from what we've seen in the past, because he takes the picture around and he seems to care about Team Stark. It seems to be something that he holds dear to him still, and this could have been a way to go into more on Summer, her past, who she was as a character, her relationship with Ruby even. But no, even Volume 6 didn't do that, which they could have done that. Maria, she didn't know Summer. So that didn't help anything, and that wouldn't have done anything for Ruby other than maybe bring up an idea of her mom in the past before she died. That's about it. And, Crow would have done so much more had he actually been the one to tell Ruby about this kind of stuff, kind of like he was doing a little bit at the end of Volume 3, how he was the one who let her know about her silver eyes and the silver-eyed warrior, indicating this stuff. But Maria wasn't any reason for Maria to exist. I mean, hell, as much as I don't like Oscar, and everybody knows I hate him, but the thing of it is that even he has more use in that department, because he is basically just the living vessel for Ozpin. Ozpin clearly could have taken over and told Ruby about it had she not in Volume 5 asked dumb questions and actually asked about her silver eyes. Ozpin could have also been somebody who could have taught her about that. I mean, seriously, Maria is a useless plot device, and I cannot stand her. Her character could just die for all I care and it wouldn't bother me. Just saying. And so, after all of that, after Penny also shoots Neo, which made me want Penny to go back to Volume 3 so much more than I did when I saw her come back at the beginning of Volume 7. And she's got herself preoccupied now with Amidity trying to keep its structure up. Well, then that's when Cinder launches her most lethal attack, which is the crotch attack, which is the only effective move it seems that she has in her arsenal against Penny in this entire fight, which, I'm just going to say it right now, if it were me, I would take one for the team. If I had to do that with Cinder, I would take one for the team, just letting everybody know right now. I am very jealous of Penny. I may like Cinder, but God, is she a terribly written character. And the thing I will say about this, though, is that while she launches this attack, here's where the problem comes in, is that, yeah, seems like she could have been successful here, and instead, yet again, they just let her fail. Again. See, this is why, to me, the villains should win, because the villains really deserve a win after all the shit the writers put them through. And for her to try to steal the maiden powers, which was the whole entire goal, yet again, they stop her from doing it. It's like the writers are totally afraid of the idea of a double maiden, where one character has two maiden powers. It's like they're totally afraid of this idea, or they just don't want the villains to have it, which is ridiculous, because it would be interesting to see the villains actually start to get the upper hand to win, actually create some suspense, something interesting for a change. But no, they don't want to do that. They just want their villains to lose so bad, and it's so disgusting to see that. It doesn't create for any suspense at all. And then Emerald is using her own semblance to try and create illusions to trick Penny, which also fails. I love how Emerald also states that she has become more powerful with her semblance, and yet we don't see that at all. Like, what was there at all in this entire fight that proved that her semblance has gotten stronger? Because I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And even with all that trouble, Cinder still gets completely melted by the enemy. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. Like I said, the villains just get treated like garbage. Unless they're going to fight other villains, they're not going to win. It's just awful. Cinder gets completely beaten as well. And like I said, frustrating. It's just so frustrating. And so then they fly off. I mean, this fight was completely pointless. There was no reason for this fight. Nothing happened to the protagonist. There was no cost. Nothing. I mean, it is a completely pointless battle other than just making the villains look worse. That's all it really did. It didn't do anything for them. I mean, seriously, you want to talk about straight up frustration. You want to talk about annoyance. Just everything you could think of. Yeah, the writers are awful because they can't create any form of tension. Then, of course, there's the whole Pietro scene, which, yes, I understand. He cares about Penny, and he doesn't want her to die. It makes sense. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of gaslighting here, but this one actually seems to be out of real concern, out of real love for his own daughter. Now, the only thing is, though, is that he is like a living Shisasose, or in other words, Resurrection of the Dead, aka Monster Reborn in Yu-Gi-Oh! For Penny, because anytime that Penny dies, he could bring her back until, of course, he dies from using up too much of his aura. But the point is, it's not really something to me that is emotional because he could bring her back. I mean, I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, it doesn't click with me because if Penny were to die, he could bring her back. To me, it doesn't really seem like an emotional thing. Now, if Penny couldn't come back, I get it. That would be good then. But yeah, it just doesn't feel that way to me because she can just come back. Now, of course, there's the scene where I have a hard time believing that she's able to push Amity. That was something that was also very hard for me to believe. And she starts to push it up so that they can get the signal out there so that everybody can get the message about Salem attacking Atlas. And then, as everybody knew was going to happen, she's getting hacked. So we all knew it was going to happen. It was all very obvious. And Penny's sacrifice, like I said, I don't feel anything from it. While Penny, I will admit, has been the character holding this volume together. I mean, she's been the best part of it. Holding it on her shoulders. Yeah, I don't care for Penny, especially after what she did in this chapter. Don't care for her after this. Then you have RWBY and another motivational speech. Yay. Ugh. Seriously, as if we haven't had enough of those from RWBY, then we get another one. I don't like that. But hey, I'll give them credit. They did have the shopkeep, and not only did they have him, but they had Glinda return, which she's not looking bad. Not looking bad. I still prefer her older model over this one, but she's not looking bad, so I'll give them that. But shame that we're never going to see her do anything again because, they fired her voice actress. So, yeah, we'll never see her do anything ever. And then they also brought in Lisa Lavender, and that face is like, I don't know what kind of dust that kid's smoking, but it's stuff that they shouldn't be having. Because, RWBY's talking about all this stuff. There is no evidence of Salem attacking, though. If you take close consideration of this, there's no evidence. You see Whitley, you see best dad of the year, the one who lets his kids run off and do whatever. And when RWBY's talking and the transmission ends, I'm not even kidding. Just the way he's like, oh no, wait, come back. Why didn't you do something then? When both your kids ran off, why didn't you do something about it? Because you didn't care? Because seriously, he's not a good dad. And not only that, let's talk about another thing here. Where's Raven? What about that scene between Raven and Tai Yang at the end of the credits of Volume 5? Oh, wait, they want us to totally forget Volume 5 is a thing. Yeah, well, guess what? Volume 5 existed. As much as we all want to think it's not real, it existed. And then Ilya and Gira, which Gira's calling Ilya about RWBY, a character that he's never even met, to talk about probably how, let's get the Faunus to help out. Like, how does that work with a character that you've never met? Oh, neither of them have. Ilya hasn't even met RWBY either. Like, it's ridiculous. You have Sun and Neptune, who are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Vacuo is apparently just nothing but a desert. No buildings, no surroundings. I mean, come on. You could have at least had them in a building. I mean, my God. Tyrion apparently is best doggo now instead of actually being a scorpion. But hey, you know what? Whatever works, I guess. And then, of course, Salem's just sitting over there like, yep. It's all coming together. I'm just going to sit on my throne because that's all you've ever done. And then RWBY's speech is so bad. I mean, for one, she has no evidence to prove that the Grimm are attacking. She doesn't just go out the window and just, show that. Instead, she just expects people to believe her by the word rather than showing them, which is dumb. Also, she has no reputation. So why would people believe her anyways? Unless it was someone like Ironwood. He actually has a reputation that people would understand. That's why people would believe Ironwood. RWBY, they wouldn't believe her because she doesn't have a reputation. People don't even know who she really is unless maybe the Vital Festival, and that might be it. But even then, she doesn't have the reputation that Ironwood has. So it's dumb, but the writers think that would work, of course. And then, Team Funky, you'd think that they'd be there. You'd think they'd be doing something. But no, apparently, they just came into Volume 7 for a brief cameo to just be like, oh, yeah, we remember them. Yay. And then that's it. You would imagine they'd be doing something, or at least, listening to the broadcast. Doesn't even show them. Hey, but they're not the only ones because Team Coffee wasn't even shown. Despite the fact that Sun and Neptune were shown in vacuo, but hey, you'd think Team Coffee'd be there. Speaking of that, I just want to bring this up. Sage and Scarlet weren't even brought into it. And Theodore, which Theodore is the headmaster over in vacuo, he doesn't even know who the fuck they are. And yet she brings him up like, oh yeah, we were buddies. Like, seriously, what? How does that make any sense? Also, Cardin wasn't shown, and yet they showed Glinda in the shopkeep. I mean, hey, they were characters. Port wasn't shown. He was a character. And Ooblack was another one that wasn't shown, and he was a character. I'm just saying, there's a lot of cameos they could have had here. Raven. Still saying Raven should have been there because, what about that conversation with Tai Yang? I mean, I'm just saying. But apparently Raven is a character that they just want to throw in the very back. God, it still bothers me that we still haven't got that Raven Tai conversation, and we never will. I just have this feeling we're never going to have it. We're never going to know what it was even going to be about. It's probably best that way, though, now that I think about it, because it's the writers, and, they're not really writers, they're talentless hack activists, so they probably screw up the whole thing anyways or make it really stupid, because that's exactly what they do. Speaking of stupid, yeah, so Ironwood gets mad, and guess what? He does what any sensible person would do in this kind of situation. Yeah, he throws his phone. Yeah, no, I'm serious. He throws his phone at Watts. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly what he does. He throws his phone, and then Watts swats it away like a champ. Like, are you kidding me? And then not only that, but his phone breaks. Like, what? This is so bad. Like, this is supposed to progress the plot. I'm not even kidding. This is so that Watts can get the phone and contact Salem. This is terrible. And this is their way of thinking that they need to move the plot forward. This is just terrible. This is awful. Like, this is what I mean by the writers are bad at what they're doing, because that is a horrible. Like, for one, why is Ironwood now acting like he's 5? Why is he acting like he's 5 throwing his phone? Like, are you kidding me? It's so dumb. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, of course, like I said, out of plot convenience for Watts to contact Salem, he takes the phone. Like, you gotta be kidding me. This is so bad. This is a terrible way to progress the plot. And, I mean, it just makes Ironwood look childish, too. It's really, really dumb. But then, of course, when it comes to Team Yabby Smash, because we got to talk about that real fast. So with Team Yabby Smash, they all see the most uninteresting thing ever. A pool of Grimm that leads into the city. Because Grimm are nothing but fodder, and they are just useless. I mean, seriously, if Grimm were threatening, yeah, this would be something. But Grimm are not threatening. They're nothing but fodder. I mean, seriously, they try to act like this is a suspenseful moment. I mean, they're all going to get sliced up. It's just Grimm. One hit kills a Grimm. I mean, unless you're the Grimm Hound. Aside from Best Boy Grimm Hound, all the other Grimm just die in one hit. It's really, really bad. But looking at this whole entire chapter, what did I think of it? It's trash. Plain and simple. It is trash. I mean, it's so bad. The villains just have this pointless fight because Cinder wanted the Maiden Powers. And even then, they just make all of them look terrible. Every single last one of them. Especially Neo. Neo got treated the dirtiest out of all of them. You want to talk about showing disrespect for the characters. You want to talk about, showing that there's no care for them. This is how you do it. I mean, this was completely disgusting how dirty they were treated, especially Neo. Neo was treated so bad in this chapter, it's just awful. I mean, it just goes to show they hate these characters, and Neo is one of them that they really do hate. And I can't stand that. It's just disgusting, the disrespect that they have for these characters. And, that's the thing, the plot itself, just the way that some of it's progressing and whatnot, it's just so bad. The writing, it's not going to improve. I mean, it's clearly obvious. And the other thing here is that power scaling is bullshit. If there's anything you'll ever learn, is that with RWBY, power scaling is worse than anything I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen anything so inconsistent in power scaling. And yes, Dragon Ball has had its problems in that series with power scaling, but it doesn't live up to RWBY's standards of just having terrible power scaling. And that's the other thing, with Ironwood acting like a kid, come on, man, that was bad. I mean, I hate Penny, but I will at least say this. She is still carrying this volume. I will give her credit. Even though I do not like her, she is carrying this volume. She is probably the best thing really going forward. And now her being hacked, her sacrifice, well, I didn't feel anything in that. Thing of it is that, yeah, I mean, everybody saw this coming. That's about all I can really say. Which I think it should have happened back in Volume 3, personally. But, I'm just saying. But the way that They also treat Cinder with this, making her lose again. This does not help her record. It doesn't make her look any better either. And Emerald, her semblance, it showed no variation of improvement. I mean, her buff was basically in Volume 5, and we didn't see anything like this at all. Like, we didn't see any form of improvement with her semblance. So, that was not improvement. And then Ruby thinking that everybody's going to just immediately believe her, despite the fact that she shows no evidence, nor does she have the reputation of someone like Ironwood. Yeah, that doesn't help her. I don't know how she thinks that people are going to believe her. I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. But you just look at it. This entire chapter was a mess. I think it's one of the worst ones RWBY has ever had, period. It's absolutely awful. But anyways, let me know what you think about this chapter down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it will keep you up to date on when the newest videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.